The discovery at Station Meridian. The silent outpost. Station Meridian floated in the darkness between stars, a small research facility monitoring the galaxy's edge. Dr. Elena Vasquez stared at her console, her coffee growing cold as she reviewed the same data for the third time. Something was wrong with the readings from Sector 7 Alpha. Energy signatures pulsed in patterns that made no sense according to known physics. Elena had worked at Meridian for 5 years, studying cosmic radiation and mapping unexplored regions. The station housed only 12 humans, scientists who preferred the quiet of deep space to the chaos of Earth's crowded stations. They were the forgotten watchers, recording data that most people would never see. The energy readings spiked again. Elena's fingers moved quickly across her keyboard, pulling up historical data. Nothing matched. The patterns were too regular to be natural, too complex to be random interference. She reached for her communication device. An unexpected signal. Captain Marcus Webb was in the station's small gym when Elena's call came through. He grabbed a towel and headed to the command center, his military training making him move with purpose despite the low gravity. Marcus had retired from active service 3 years ago, taking this quiet posting to escape memories of war. Station Meridian was supposed to be peaceful. When he entered the command center, Elena was surrounded by holographic displays. Her dark eyes were wide with excitement and concern. "Captain, you need to see this," she said, gesturing to the main screen. "The energy signatures are getting stronger. And there's more." Marcus studied the data, his expression growing serious. The patterns looked almost like language, like someone was trying to communicate. "Have you tried standard first contact protocols?" he asked. Elena nodded. "Already running. But Marcus, these readings are coming from a region we marked as empty space. There's nothing out there. No stars, no planets, nothing that should generate this kind of energy." The station's AI assistant, a program called Iris, chimed in with her calm voice. "Captain Webb, I have completed analysis of the signal patterns. They match no known alien communication systems in our database. However, the mathematical structure suggests intentional design." Marcus felt old instincts awakening. He had fought in the border wars 20 years ago, defending human colonies from raiders and hostile forces. He knew the difference between natural phenomena and something created with purpose. This was definitely the latter. The council's silence. Engineer Jackson Rodriguez joined them, wiping grease from his hands. He was the youngest member of the crew, only 26, but brilliant with technology. "I heard the alerts," he said. "What are we looking at?" Elena explained quickly while Jackson studied the displays. His face grew pale. "We need to contact the Galactic Council," he said. "This could be a first contact situation. Protocol says we report immediately." Marcus opened a communication channel to the nearest council relay station. He sent their data and requested immediate assistance. Then they waited. Hours passed with no response. Marcus sent 3 more messages, each marked with higher priority. Still nothing. "They're ignoring us," Elena said quietly. She pulled up news feeds from council space. "Look at this. There are reports of attacks near the outer rim. Multiple systems going dark. The council is dealing with some kind of crisis." Jackson enhanced the news feeds, his fingers flying across his console. "These attacks started 2 weeks ago. The council has lost contact with 17 colonies. They're calling it equipment failures and solar interference, but look at the pattern. The attacks are spreading, moving inward toward populated space." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen this before during the border wars. An enemy probing defenses, testing responses, moving systematically toward larger targets. "Elena, compare the energy signatures we're detecting with the locations of these attacks." Elena worked quickly, overlaying data on a star map. The room fell silent as the correlation became clear. Every system that had gone dark showed the same energy patterns they were detecting now, appearing days before the attacks. The ancient warning. "We're detecting a warning system," Marcus said slowly. "Something out there is trying to tell us where the attacks will happen next." Iris interrupted. "Captain, I have found relevant historical data. During my analysis, I discovered references in old Earth archives. There are stories from the early space exploration era, before we joined the Galactic Council. Explorers reported similar energy patterns near the Veil Nebula. They called it the Sentinel Network. Why haven't I heard of this?" Elena asked. "The reports were classified and later dismissed as sensor errors," Iris explained. "However, several exploration teams insisted the patterns were warnings. They claimed an unknown intelligence was marking dangerous regions of space." Marcus pulled up the old reports. They read like ghost stories, tales of mysterious signals that appeared before disasters. Most scientists had dismissed them. But Marcus had learned to trust his instincts, and his instincts were screaming that this was real. Jackson pointed at the star map. "If this pattern continues, the next attack will hit the Kepler station in 72 hours. That's a research facility with 3,000 people, mostly families of scientists. We have to warn them," Elena said immediately. Marcus was already opening communication channels. But as he worked, a new alert flashed across his screen. The energy signatures were changing, growing stronger and more urgent. Iris analyzed the new patterns and her voice carried an unusual note of concern when she spoke. "Captain, the signal is now directional. It is pointing to coordinates in deep space, approximately 40 light-years from our current position. The location corresponds to a region marked as the Abyss on Galactic Council charts. It is listed as forbidden space. No explanation is given for why." Marcus made a decision that would change everything. "Jackson, prep the station's long-range probe. Elena, configure it to investigate those coordinates. If something out there is trying to warn us, we need to know what it is and why." As the crew worked through the night, none of them noticed the small ship that appeared at the edge of their sensors, watching silently before disappearing back into the darkness. The Watchers had been awakened, and humanity was about to discover that they were not alone in their vigil against the coming storm. The probe launched at dawn station time, carrying cameras and sensors toward the abyss. Marcus stood at the window, watching it vanish into the stars. He thought about the families at Kepler Station, unaware of the danger approaching. He thought about the Council's silence and the mysterious warnings. Most of all, he thought about the old saying from his military days, "When the universe tries to warn you, you should probably listen." The abyss reveals its secrets. Journey into darkness. The probe reached the abyss coordinates after 18 hours of travel. Station Meridian's crew gathered in the command center, watching the feed with growing anticipation. The region looked empty on visual scanners, just darkness stretching endlessly in all directions. But the energy readings told a different story. "There's something massive out there," Elena reported, her voice tense with excitement. "The probe is detecting a structure. It's huge, Captain. At least 50 kilometers across." The probe's enhanced sensors began painting a picture on their displays. What emerged made everyone in the room hold their breath. Floating in the void was a station unlike anything in Galactic Council records. Its design was ancient, built with materials that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The structure was geometric and precise, covered in patterns that hurt to look at too long. Jackson leaned closer to his screen. "Those patterns are mathematical formulas. Really complex ones. Iris, can you analyze them?" The AI worked for several minutes before responding. The formulas describe spatial geometry and quantum mechanics at levels beyond current Council technology. However, they are written using a mathematical system that appears in old Earth databases. These matched theoretical frameworks developed by human scientists 400 years ago, equations that were never fully completed. Marcus felt the pieces falling into place. This station was built by humans. Or someone using human mathematics. Impossible, Elena whispered. Humans only reached this region of space 70 years ago. This station looks thousands of years old. The probe moved closer, its cameras revealing more details. The station showed no signs of damage despite its age. Docking ports stood empty, waiting. Power still flowed through its systems, creating the energy signatures they had detected. At the center of the structure was a massive door, sealed and marked with symbols. The warning activates. Without warning, the station came alive. Lights blazed across its surface, and the door at its center began to open. The probe's sensors went wild with readings. Marcus reached for the communication controls, ready to pull the probe back, but stopped when he saw what emerged. A hologram projected from the station, appearing on the probe's cameras. It showed a woman in an old-style military uniform, her face stern but kind. She looked human, but her uniform bore no insignia Marcus recognized. When she spoke, her words were in perfect English, though the accent was strange. If you are receiving this message, the Watchers have been activated. The enemy has returned. The woman's image flickered slightly. My name is Commander Sarah Chen. I served in the 1st Defense Fleet, Terran United Forces. The year is 2247 by Earth calendar. If you are seeing this, it means centuries have passed since we sealed the breach. Elena grabbed Marcus's arm. 2247. That's over 800 years ago. During the lost century, when Earth's records are incomplete. The hologram continued. We discovered them by accident. The Devourers, we called them. A species that consumes organic life, leaving only dead worlds behind. They came from beyond our galaxy, through tears in space we didn't know existed. We fought them for 30 years. Earth itself was nearly destroyed. The image shifted to show battles in space. Human ships that looked primitive compared to modern vessels fought against organic creatures that moved through the void like living nightmares. The Devourers were insectoid, massive, and numerous beyond counting. The footage showed entire fleets being overwhelmed, planets being consumed. We couldn't defeat them, Commander Chen continued. But we found a way to stop them. We discovered the breaches, the dimensional tiers they used to enter our reality. Working with our allies, we built the Seal, a network of stations that close the breaches and keep the Devourers locked away. Jackson was recording everything. This explains the Sentinel network. The warnings we've been detecting are automated systems left by this 1st Defense Fleet. The hologram showed the construction of massive stations, humans working alongside aliens Marcus didn't recognize. We knew they would try to return. We built the warning grid to detect any attempts to breach the seal. If you are seeing this message, the grid has activated. The Devourers are trying to break through again. The truth emerges. Commander Chen's image looked directly at the camera, as if she could see across 8 centuries. To whoever finds this message, you must act quickly. The seal can hold, but only if it is reinforced. The coordinates for all seal stations are included in this transmission. You must reach them before the breach fully opens. The hologram provided technical data, flooding the probe's memory banks. Specifications for weapons, shield technology, and dimensional science far beyond anything the Galactic Council possessed. Marcus realized with shock that humanity had once been more advanced than they were now. Something had happened during the lost century, something that had set Earth back technologically. The Council will not help you, Chen's message continued, and her expression hardened. We learned that truth the hard way. When we first encountered the Devourers, we asked the Council for aid. They refused. They said humanity was too primitive to warrant their resources. They said we should accept our fate. Elena's face showed her anger. They abandoned Earth during the invasion. We survived alone, the hologram said. We built our own fleet. We developed our own technology. And when we sealed the Devourers away, we did it without Council help. But we also learned we could not trust the Council to protect the galaxy. That is why we built the seal in secret, in regions the Council never explored. The image of Commander Chen began to fade. I do not know who you are or when you will find this message. But I know you are human, or you work with humans. The warning grid only responds to human biomarkers and mathematics. That was our insurance. When the Devourers return, humanity will know first. You will have time to prepare. What if we're not ready? Jackson asked the fading hologram, though he knew she couldn't hear him. As if answering his question, Chen's final words came through. You carry human DNA. That means you carry the same strength that allowed us to survive. The same creativity that let us build the seal. The same stubborn refusal to accept defeat. Trust in that. And remember, you are not the first humans to face impossible odds. You will not be the last. The hologram vanished. The station's lights dimmed but remained active, waiting. The probe had recorded everything, gigabytes of technical data and historical information. Marcus looked at his small crew, seeing his own shock reflected in their faces. The decision. We need to contact Earth Command immediately, Marcus said. This changes everything we know about human history and the current threat. Elena was already composing a priority message. The Council is still not responding to our warnings about the attacks. But if what Commander Chen said is true, they wouldn't help anyway. Then we bypass them, Marcus decided. We send this information directly to Earth, Mars, Titan Station, and every human colony. If the seal is failing, humanity needs to know. We need to prepare. Jackson pulled up a star map showing the coordinates Chen's message had provided. There are 23 seal stations scattered across this entire region of space. Most are in areas the Council declared forbidden zones. They've been protecting the galaxy for 800 years without anyone knowing. Until now, Elena added. The attacks we're seeing, the systems going dark, those must be test breaches. The Devourers are probing the seal's weak points. Marcus transmitted their findings to Earth on the most secure channel available. He included all the probe data, the historical footage, and the technical specifications. Then he sent a simple message: the past has returned. We need to act now. As they waited for a response, the warning grid signals intensified. Iris tracked 17 new energy signatures appearing across the sector, each one marking a point where the seal was weakening. The Devourers were not just probing anymore. They were preparing for a full invasion. Captain, Iris said quietly. I have calculated the timeline based on the rate the seal is degrading. We have approximately 9 days before the first major breach opens. The location will be near the Kepler station. 3,000 lives, Marcus thought. Families who had no idea what was coming. He looked at his crew, these few humans on a forgotten outpost who had stumbled onto a truth hidden for centuries. They were about to become the first line of defense in a war that was supposed to have ended 800 years ago. All hands, battle stations, Marcus ordered. We're going to need every advantage we can get.